Several homes were lost, but everyone in Hillcrest was okay.
You just hear your house start tearing and breaking and everything falling everywhere. So it's pretty scary. I don't care to go through it again. When my kids asked me if we were going to get hurt, and I said, I'm not going to lie to you, we're in trouble. So I didn't know then what was going to happen.
It was about the largest. I have not seen a lot of funnel clouds, but it was about the largest funnel cloud that I've ever seen. But it was moving slowly, which I think gave people a little bit of time maybe to take cover. What's unbelievable is there were people home in almost every home, and as far as we can tell, no one was even injured. A lot of property damage, a lot of houses severely damaged and even gone, but like I say, thankfully no one was hurt.
Yeah, we just kept on watching it, and then it went up, and we thought it's gonna go, and then all these other clouds just right above us kept on going towards it and getting bigger, and it went down again over the hill, and then it came back up and it was sucking up all the stuff with it. And then we just kept on watching it, started hailing, and it came right towards us.
Then when it started coming towards us, I got real scared. My brother told me to go in the bathroom, and so I grabbed 2 pillows and got in the shower and stayed there. And then our neighbors came over and told us to get under the mattress, and that's what we did. And I'm thankful we're alive.
Carol Wilson retraces the path that those tornadoes took.
Ham operators who are trained spotters report the first funnel cloud southwest of North Platte shortly before 8. Within minutes, the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning. The storm system continues east before jogging north along Highway 83 through town. It's moving slowly as storms go, 15 to 20 miles per hour, but it's intense. The tops of the thunderheads are 11 miles up. 8:20. The funnel cloud drops down for the first time into the Elks Club parking lot north of town. The tornado flips a truck and motorhome over. 2 people are injured. Newlywed Yvette Troyer is having her wedding reception when the twister strikes.
Everybody started running and ducking, and I looked out and it took out the front doors. And then I ran down to the basement with everybody else, so I don't really see it hit a couple cars, but that's about it.
Shortly after, another much larger tornado drops down into Cody Park, uprooting 50-foot trees. The tornado follows a path along North Highway 83, ripping up trees and leveling some barns and sheds. It veers northeast just south of the Channel 2 studios and continues northeast until it reaches Hillcrest Heights. That's where it wreaks the greatest destruction. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but a weather specialist says some people may have been lucky.
Like I say, most people in North Platte get a warning, they go look at the sky, and I suppose most people were warned by looking at the sky. They might have heard about the warning first, then looked at the sky. In this particular case, it could have helped them.
Cleanup started almost immediately. It was time to pick up the pieces and try to save what was left. Friends and neighbors pitched in.
In the cool breeze of the afternoon, dozens of neighbors and friends gathered around. They will serve as a support system for residents of Hillcrest Estates that lost their homes and, in some cases, everything in it. One disaster official says a half-dozen homes are considered total disasters the owners will have to build from scratch. 2 or 3 homes have major damage, some of it water damage, and 1 or 2 in the area have damage to the roofs. District Disaster Chairman for the American Red Cross, Reverend Roger Gilming, says everyone is helping out, trying to get lives back in order.
Union Pacific is here. They've brought out several semi-trailers for folks to put their belongings in. The Red Cross is here, and I'm not for sure who else is out here. Civil Defense has been out here, so and the Sheriff's Department is trying to control traffic in and out. Typical Nebraska.
Residents of the Hillcrest development say they were helpless in the face of this storm. They watched as it came up, and it came up quickly. All they could do was to take cover under mattresses and in basements. Reverend Gilming says all the precautions seemed to work. There were people home in every house at Hillcrest, but no one was injured.
After the tornado, we closed the yard down, and so our employees could go home, and 4 of our people live up in the Hillcrest area, and their homes were either damaged or destroyed, and so initially we went up there to help them protect their personal belongings, whatever they could salvage, and clean up the debris. As it went along, we've had up there as many as 24 people in the Hillcrest neighborhood helping out with general cleanup, removing debris, and for our own employees up there, we had some semi-trucks up there so that the belongings they had could be salvaged and put in out of the weather until they find some place to put them. We've had some boom trucks up there to lift debris off of out of the home sites, some dump trucks to remove material from the area, and I understand there are some generators in there for power purposes also.
John used to work for Glenn and Alice Phelps as a farmhand, but today he's working for free.
Well, I knew these folks. I used to work for them about 10 years ago, so thought I'd better come out and see if they was needing some help.
Give him a hand.
Yeah.
Great. John and a dozen other people showed up early this morning with chainsaws, rakes, and shovels, ready to go to work. The only thing that was left intact on the Phelps property is their home. Alice says she can't believe all of the friends who came to help without even being asked.
We've been here all day. We brought lunch, fed them all. We hope we did.
Are you surprised to see this many people here helping?
Not really, because everybody turns out good around here.
Diane Osmond was working at the American Legion when the tornado struck. She immediately thought of her parents' house. It's located right past Hillcrest Estates.
As soon as I heard him say that it hit the east side of Hillcrest and was headed north, I knew it hit here. So I was really scared. But I knew that my folks were out of town, so I was hoping that they were still out of town, hadn't got back yet.
They hadn't gotten home yet, but they were on their way. They had been at a family reunion in Red Cloud and knew nothing about the tornado.
I had to pull off the road and start back down here, and we started picking up stuff on the fences. And of course, we got the more stuff we seen, and got here, it looked terrible.
Had to go crowd in by the side of the house, even get in the door. And, there was this bed springs out there wrapped around posts, and I thought that was my bed.
The bed of someone's pickup landed on the roof of the Powell's house, damaging rafters. The twister also blew the windows out of the home, leaving the inside full of broken glass. But the Powells say the greatest loss are the trees, dozens of them destroyed. Diane says it's the first time in her life she's seen the house from the road. She's grateful her parents weren't home when the damage was done.
I'm really thankful, because I said, I know my mom, she would have been standing right in the kitchen.
North Platte Park crews have been working around the clock to get Cody Park back to normal. It's a real mess. The most extensive damage is to the front of the park by Jeffers Street. 70-year-old huge maple trees have been uprooted and tossed around like twigs. Park entrances were blocked by the downed trees. Power lines to the park were knocked down. The damage is estimated in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right now it's almost impossible to estimate. We'll have to get a forester in here and see if he can put a value on these 70 and 80-year-old trees. But for some reason, a lot of the Chinese elm, which would probably have been gone in a few years anyway, survived, where our good hard maples, the pines, and that kind of tree we lost.
Fortunately, the park buildings, including the kiddie rods and the pool, are okay, with some minor damage. The top of the carousel was shredded to pieces, but the antique horses were spared. The biggest loss to the park is that of a 1-year-old deer named Bambi. He had been a favorite with many of the residents. He apparently severely injured himself trying to get out, and a local veterinarian had to put him to sleep. Several of the other animals also received some injuries, but park officials say they will be okay. The park has been closed to the public since the tornado hit. Park officials have had a tough time trying to keep people out.
We still do have some unsafe conditions as far as branches that are battered and could go at any time and everything. So we're continuing to keep people out of the park as long as we can, and we'll continue the cleanup probably for a week or so.
Well, it's not as bad as I thought it might be, but it is bad. We've lost a lot of trees. You know, it takes a long time to grow trees, and we feel badly about that.
You said you had a meeting this morning with some of your staff?
Our people were, yes, we talked about damage, and most of our damage